Hello students, today we are looking at the beautiful art of many different artists who paint landscapes. When you first look at this art, this is actually a quilt. It might not look like a landscape or a picture of land, but it is. A picture of a landscape is really just colors and textures that remind us of a place, usually outside. I see so many different kinds of colors and shapes in all of these. It's almost like anything you paint can look like a landscape as long as there are sections of color and many different natural shapes and lines. And here is one other painting that has many areas of color with some sections of texture. Many of these with different colors, even if they're crazy colors like purple and pink, look like man-planted fields. This one is very abstract, meaning it almost doesn't look like a landscape at all. When something looks more like colors and shapes than a real place, we can say it's even abstract. And here are some diagrams that show that different areas of color, very simple, can make a landscape. We're going to try this today with watercolor. And so we're going to use an embroidery hoop, a way that it's not usually supposed to be used. So we're going to be very gentle with it, and we're going to care for it, make sure it doesn't bend, break, or even get pencil or paint or anything on it. I placed it in the center and I gently penciled the inside. The pencil line doesn't have to be perfect and it shouldn't be dark. It should be very ghostly and light. While you're at it, put your name on the back along with your class code. You're going to have your own watercolor set today, and even though they don't look new, they've not been used very much, and so the colors are very strong. This is very good watercolor. You're going to have your own water too, so that you can use watercolor correctly today. With your brush, you're going to get a little bit of water on your brush, and you're going to do some gentle swirling in a paint palette. You're going to go inside of your circle, and this is an experiment to try and not touch our watercolor blob to the pencil line or to any other watercolor blobs today. So I kind of have an idea in mind for the colors and shapes I want to use, and you can use any colors and shapes that are kind of natural shapes, organic shapes, to build your landscape from the bottom up. You only need to have 3 or more color shapes in your landscape. Later, when we do this on fabric, you might want to use a little bit more, but 3 is the minimum. So you can use only 3 if you want to stick with a simple design. In between colors, you're going to pounce in the water, and then you're going to blot on a paper towel. Then you're going to get some fresh water in your brush to wet the next color that you're using. So now I've moved on to blue. A landscape traditionally has a feeling of horizontal. There's usually a horizon line. And horizontal means that the shapes will be going mostly left to right. They might not fit across the entire width of the circle, but there will be a lot of horizontal shapes for it to feel like a landscape. You might try a vertical landscape and see how it turns out today. This is a good day for just experimenting with colors and shapes and deciding if your art feels like maybe it might be a landscape. So my brush, when I'm ready, and I'm not ready, I can go back and get more pigment to make a color more bright on my paper. If things get scratchy, I know I haven't used enough water. And if things are very muted and light, I know that I might want to dip back in and get more pigment on my brush. Pounce in the water. We're not swirling or splashing. Pouncing means bouncing the brush on the bottom. And then blot with your paper towel. Get your brush wet to activate the next color. So your eyes might start to see a certain landscape that might be familiar to you here in my little circle. And all I did was use some shapes of color, make sure that they aren't really touching, and make sure that they aren't really touching, but coming close to the circle. And I think this one's done. Have fun with your landscape, your colors, and your blobs today.